and you watch it when it takes off and when it lands. The wing gets bigger.
Yeah.
There's a piece of the wing that
extends out.
It extends out and curves down. So the more wing surface they have, the more lift. And since it curves down, there's pressure, air pressure on it to lift it up. Now take that whole thing and flip it. And now what they had on the Formula One was there's a curved surface that comes up. That's that extra lift the plane is getting by pointing down. Now you want extra pressure coming down from the speed going forward. And that's what's on the back of the Formula One.
So why can the same kind of wing that lets an airplane climb into the sky make a Formula One car feel glued to the ground? At high speed, a modern race car's wings can push it down with a force greater than its own weight. In theory, if you had a smooth tunnel and enough speed, the car could drive upside down on the ceiling without falling. It sounds like a magic trick, but it comes from very ordinary physics, how fast-moving air pushes on surfaces. To see why flipping a wing changes everything, we have to understand what a wing is really doing to the air around it. A wing is not special because of some mysterious lift power. It's special because it shapes the pressure of the air around it. Air pressure is just the force from countless air molecules hitting a surface. When you're standing still, that pressure is the same in all directions, so it cancels out. But when a wing moves through air, it changes how fast the air flows over and under it, and that changes the pressure. Lower pressure on one side and higher pressure on the other side means a net force. On a plane, you shape the wing so that force points upward. That's lift. On a race car, you flip that pressure pattern so the force points downward. That's downforce. Same physics, opposite direction. Here's the first twist. You can understand this not just as a pressure story, but as a momentum story. Momentum is a measure of how hard it is to change something's motion. When a wing moves forward, it doesn't just sit there in the air, it actively deflects the flow. An airplane wing bends the airflow downward. By Newton's third law, if the wing pushes air downward, the air pushes the wing upward with an equal and opposite force. An inverted wing on a race car instead bends the flow upward, so the air's reaction force pushes the car downward. The pressure difference on the wing surfaces is simply how that exchange of momentum shows up at each point on the material. So lift and downforce are just two ways of talking about how a shaped surface pushes on the air and how the air pushes back. That explains why a flipped wing can press a car down, but it hides a deeper surprise. Even a completely flat plate can generate lift or downforce if you tilt it. Imagine holding your hand out the window of a moving car. If you keep it flat, the air mostly just pushes straight back. But tilt the front edge up a little, and your hand rises. Tilt it down, and your hand is forced toward the road. That tilt is called the angle of attack, the angle between the oncoming airflow and the surface. A positive angle of attack on a wing in free air deflects flow downward and creates lift. A negative angle of attack, or the same angle with the wing flipped, deflects flow upward and creates downforce. The curved airfoil shapes you see on airplanes and race cars make this process more efficient and stable, but the basic effect does not require curvature at all. That's a major clue that curvy on top, flat on bottom stories are incomplete by themselves. Now comes an even more counterintuitive part. On a race car, a huge fraction of the downforce doesn't come from the obvious wings on top. It comes from the floor. The space between the bottom of the car and the track behaves like a kind of upside-down wing pressed very close to a wall. The air rushing underneath is squeezed into a narrow channel, which makes it speed up. Faster flow under the car means lower pressure there compared with the air above. The result is the car being sucked toward the ground, even though nothing is actually pulling. It's just higher pressure on top pushing down more than the lower pressure underneath pushes up. Engineers shape this underbody with tunnels and diffusers to control how the air accelerates and then slows down, maximizing downforce while trying to limit drag, which is a resistance that opposes motion. All of these effects get dramatically stronger with speed, and that leads to a strange driving reality. A race car often has more grip in a fast corner than in a slow one. The key is that aerodynamic forces grow roughly with the square of speed. Double the speed, and the dynamic pressure, the extra pressure from motion, goes up by a factor of 4. 4 times the pressure difference means about 4 times the lift or downforce from the same wing setting. That's why at racing speeds, drivers talk about the car coming alive in corners where the wings and floor are really working. But there's a trade-off. More wing angle or more aggressive underbody shapes also increase drag, which costs top speed on the straights. Designers constantly balance how much vertical force they want against how much resistance they can tolerate. The last piece of the puzzle is stability and control. A wing that is too aggressively angled can cause the airflow to separate, meaning the smooth attached flow breaks away into turbulence. When that happens, the pressure pattern collapses and the lift or downforce suddenly drops. This is called stall in the context of wings. On an airplane, stall means a loss of lift. On a race car, a stall in the wrong place can mean an abrupt loss of downforce and a sudden, dangerous slide. That's why you see multiple elements, end plates, and carefully sculpted edges on racing wings. They're all ways to keep the flow attached and predictable over a wide range of speeds and angles. The goal is not just big aerodynamic forces, but forces that change smoothly and reliably, so the driver can feel and trust them. In the end, a wing is not about making things go up or down. It's about using shape and motion to control how you trade momentum with the air. Flip an airplane wing and mount it on a Formula One car, and you reverse the direction of the pressure imbalance and the direction in which you throw the air. The same fundamental physics that lets a heavy airliner rise into the sky lets a race car, at speed, become effectively heavier without adding mass, squeezing its tires harder into the track. So, the answer to our opening question is, flipping the wing doesn't change what the air is doing, it changes which way the resulting force points. Once you see that, the idea of a car driving upside down stops looking like magic and starts looking like a very extreme but very logical consequence of how air, speed, and shape interact. Like if this was interesting, hit the subscribe for more and turn that notification bell on.